Good morning, everyone. It's Jared here from the Alpha Capital Trading Group, and we are doing a very, very quick run through for the week ahead. Looking at the price action over the weekend, looking at the key fundamentals for the week ahead, and having a quick observation on the price action as well through the early part of this week. So, if we get our attention first of all to our economic calendar, we're going to be looking at the events for the week ahead. So this morning we've had quite a little bit of data between 8 and half 9, and just after the London Open this morning, with a range of PMIs both throughout France, Germany, Europe, and also the UK. So we can see here that there was quite a positive numbers on some of the PMIs this morning. You can see here that pretty much without the exception of two, which was the European and German market manufacturing PMI preliminary figures, are slightly under the expectation. So that came in 0.3 under expectation. That came in actually 1 whole point under expectation. But everything else did clear up in the blue. So normally speaking, when we look at PMIs, anything under 50 is actually contractionary and recessionary. But normally speaking, I think the average really is anywhere between kind of 55 to 60, 62 is generally the normal PMI figures that we tend to get in the markets following the COVID figure. Okay. So when we look across the week ahead, we'll be keeping an eye on the fundamentals today, of course, with Russia, Ukraine, as things continue to develop, because we did have a range of different unconfirmed comments over the weekend regarding troop movements, regarding potential invasions. So, of course, when it comes to that, we have to keep an eye on the latest fundamentals if and when they arrive. So, as we look to the week ahead, Tuesday, again, we have the marketing PMIs in America Tuesday afternoon. We do have BoE Ramsden speech Tuesday morning, and we do have some IFO in Germany at 9 o'clock just after the open. So Tuesday, not too bad of a day, because we do have a bank holiday in the US today as well. So there will be a thinner volume today because of the bank holiday in the US, and the fact that also Japan have a bank holiday tomorrow. So there's a few markets closed both today and tomorrow. When we look at Wednesday, we have RBNZ Wednesday. It'll be interesting to see, will they raise rates? Observations is that they will do a 0.25 rate hike, which should in theory add to a little bit more strengthening in the Kiwi. However, let's just wait and see how that plays out. Because of course, if they go up more aggressive than the 0.25, that would be a price that's not, that would be a shockwave that's not been currently priced in. So we have to look at that on its own merits as well. We do have BoE monetary policy hearings on Wednesday as well in the UK. But before I move, I just have to my filter. And when we look at that now, we can see here, as we said, BoE Ramsden on and BoE Tenreyro. So there will be a little bit there this week, but Ramsden and Tenreyro, excuse me on the pronunciation. And we have the monetary policy report hearings as well. So keep an eye, because the pound could be volatile this week. As we look then to Thursday, generally speaking, traditional busiest day of the week. This week we have Chicago Fed. So we're keeping an eye on that. GDP figures will be important. So again, that'll be a big one at 1:30. And of course, without a doubt, the US initial weekly job claims will be something to keep an eye on. Now, as we progress to Thursday, we have more Kiwi. So Kiwi proven to be a fairly volatile currency this week in the FX markets. We have retail sales on Thursday evening heading into Friday. We've got Japan CPI on late Thursday night. And then Friday to end the week, we have a number of data as well. So Friday, we have Fed Waller. Keep an eye on that one. We have GDP in Germany, going to be important, particularly for the European Open at 8 a.m. And then, of course, to finish out the Friday, we will have the durable goods orders, Michigan consumer sentiment, which I would be one that we keep paying very, very close attention to. And of course, as we said there, the core personal consumption expenditure. So I'll be keeping an eye on those as well. So quite a busy week this week. Now, of course, this is only from the data perspective. We have to factor in all the fundamentals as well. So we'll be keeping an eye on, I suppose, fundamentally Russia, Ukraine, because as we look at the markets now shortly, the Russia-Ukraine narrative is really dictating some of the movements at the minute. So it's important to understand that. So without further ado, we'll now look at some of the price action in the charts. So first things first, if we look at gold, we can see how gold, following that move into 1900 tail end of last week, we can see now how the price action has tried to spike through 1900 and is now holding back underneath. So the price action at the minute is containing itself after this very, very sharp week and a half of buying impetus. The price action is now holding firm under the 1900 level. So it'd be definitely worth keeping an eye to see, does the momentum become sustained enough that we can actually break through it. But as we speak at the moment, as of Monday morning, the price action is holding underneath this 1900 level on gold. Okay, so Russia, Ukraine, any developments there, any really negative fundamentals could potentially push gold through that 1900 catalyst. But at the minute, gold is continuing to play off that 1900 level. Okay, when we look at the indices, first and foremost on the S&P from our update on Friday, we can see how through the course of Friday, the price action had continued to sell off early morning. We saw that little bit of a relief recovery back into kind of the close Friday evening. But the price action this morning has continued to kind of steadily grind higher in the non-cash price markets. Okay, so futures very much kind of still hitting lower. And of course, we still have yet to hit these retests of these lows from the end of January, where the price action rallied from 42750, 4300 all the way back into 46. So I think at the minute, if we look at this now, the price action is still grinding lower. So this 4300 will be interesting to see if it's tested this week. But I wouldn't rule against it. If we look at the NASDAQ, next on the list, NASDAQ is currently sat at these lows here at around about 13,900 to 14,000. So we've multiple rejections at the end of January. The price action has continued to move lower last week, as we alluded to. We got a little bit of a bounce on Friday, but of course, the price action pre-market this morning. Now, of course, the US cash market will be closed today, so just factor that into consideration. So expect thinner volume. So from today, all eyes is to see how does the price action react of this highlighted level, okay, to see whether we actually break through it and continue catapulting to the downside. And of course, last but not least, on the Dow Jones, if we look at the price action and the wider viewpoint, we can see here that the price action is currently testing these lows at 34,000. Okay, so 34,000 was a massive daily area, particularly on the higher time frames, because as we looked at the January lows, we kept refusing to break underneath it. So all eyes to see how does the price action react here off the 34,000 level. Now, I suppose short term, we had this lower low, lower high formation here. Price action has completed the nearest fib extension. So there is some technicals going on here as well. But at the moment, price action on the Dow Jones is moving lower. And I suspect we will get another retest of this 34,000 level. So definitely keep an eye on that. All right. So busy week ahead from both the price action elements, the Russia-Ukraine developments, and also obviously on the fundamentals as well. So we've got Bank of China, PBOE, we've got RBNZ, we've got Bank of England, we've got European data, US data this week. So it is a bit of a busy week. So do factor in the fundamentals into your price action. Have a great week, everyone.